I was born September 13th, which meant that 2 days before my 18th birthday, you know what happened. And one of the first things that I saw after you know what happened was a meme of Mr. Rogers saying, in times of bad and times of hardship, look for the helpers. No matter how bad things get, it is human nature for there to be people that are helping each other, people that are coming together as community, and people who are serving one another. In times like this, it is all too easy to succumb to despair, but that is exactly what they want from us right now. We are not in for a short fight. This is at least a 4-year fight at this point. We have to preserve our sanity in any way that we can. We cannot let the darkness completely overshadow the light. Something that I was once told when I was younger is that yes, I can see every single rain cloud, but the one thing about that, the one good silver lining to that, is that I can find the silver lining in any rain cloud. There is a reason why the military takes significant efforts to celebrate holidays and to have luxuries and little tributes from home, even when things are really dark and really hard and the fight is getting difficult. And that is because morale is a significant part of the fight, and one of the things that they are going to want from us right now is for us to cower before them, for us to be fearful. Because especially for those of us who are LGBTQ, they have been told that we cannot experience joy because we are separated from their God. Queer joy is and always has existed. Even in the darkest of times, we have found little ways to celebrate ourselves, to be ourselves, to have our identities affirmed. When things are bad, it can absolutely be difficult to find moments and pockets of joy. But one thing is absolutely true. We have to make time for peace and for goodness, to dance and to sing and to come together and to celebrate being humans and being alive for as long as that is, you know? Unfortunately, we have been brought up in a society that kind of makes you believe that you always have to feel one way about things. You always have to be just positive or just negative, or you always have to be in just one moment. But the fact of the matter is especially now, especially in an ever more connected world, we have to exist in a state of dissonance. We have to be able to find little pockets of joy, little moments where we can set the anxiety aside and be distracted for a moment and escape. A lot of times we criticize escapism because we absolutely have a lot of people that get trapped in escapism, but we cannot sustain ourselves for the long term to survive so we can thrive if we are not finding at least a little bit of time to listen to music, to come together, to sing, to dance. I've said it before and I'll say it again, music is the language of liberation and of freedom, and one of the things that I intend to keep doing as long as possible is dissecting pop music and all of the things that are happening in pop culture to try and find little pockets of joy and amazing beauty, because there are so many incredibly talented people putting out just the most amazing art right now. And it does suck that a lot of people have the perspective that the best art comes from struggle, and I'm not here to debate that or not, but maybe, yes, good art does come from struggle, and we need to take the time to appreciate that, or we are not going to be able to sustain our morale for the long-term fight. As somebody who has lived through a lot of bad things before, if there is only one thing that you take away from this video, it is to play a little Tetris for the next couple of days. It is something that my therapist has always said to do when I am overwhelmed, because there are studies that show that it helps. I don't necessarily know about other games. They've really only done these studies with Tetris, but if you have a game that you know makes you feel better and you have a couple of minutes, don't feel bad playing it. Like, absolutely, there are going to be plenty of times and plenty of places to feel bad. And absolutely, when you need to let those emotions out, even if you need to go off to a side room by yourself and scream into a pillow or cry for a little bit, if you need to listen to TTBD as loud as you can and scream along with it, all of that is healing in its own way, because you cannot bundle up those emotions. You have to let them out. Unfortunately, too much of our society places precedence over hiding emotions and acting logical and rational, and it's bad and embarrassing to show your emotions, but that just makes people bottle up things and never deal with those emotions and never confront them, and it leads to a lot of bad things long term. In the face of fear, it is a radical act to embrace joy. They want us to exist in fear because it allows them to keep their masses under the delusion that our cause is an unjust one. I know Frances Whitney did not mean the lyric this way. For an anxious girl, you sure have a lot of nerve, but it has been playing in my head over and over and over again because I am an anxious girly and I do have a lot of nerve. And I am using that nerve to embrace joy and to keep music and art as a radical act for as long as we can do so. I think as someone who is an entertainer right now, it can be easy to believe that your work is not important. But something that has been going on recently is the Dan and Phil tour. And I have been Dan and Phil trash ever since, I don't know, probably 2013, very, very early in the beginning of their fame. And one of the things that I have realized from them is just being themselves and being funny and being quirky and being entertaining and being just human on the internet was so important to so many people who were in a bad place. And it can be so easy for us who, like I said, and it can be so easy for people who are not like on the front lines being a doctor or a senator or something like that to feel like the work that you are doing is not contributing to the whole. But if you are contributing to peace and relaxation and people loving themselves and their identity, that is all such important, valid work that we must not stop doing right now. I have spent so much time studying history. I am very obsessed with the history of show business and of queer history especially. And the one thing that I see again and again and again is no matter how much they got oppressed, they still found moments to have joy, to have love, to have affection, to have all of the things that society had taught them that they weren't allowed to have because of their orientation, because of their identity, because of the color of their skin. And I hate that we are once again in the position of trying to love ourselves in a world that is trying its hardest to make everyone else and ourselves hate us, right? Your joy, your well-being, your health, your family, all of those things are so critically important right now. There are so many kids that do not have people in their lives who are living authentically in their identities, and people who are doing that on the internet are so valuable right now. I see so much beauty and so many good people who tried their darndest to prevent things from going the way they seem to be going. Those people are not going to disappear tomorrow. They're not going to stop working tomorrow. The ways we communicate may be different. The ways that we commune in public may be different. The ways that we identify ourselves may be different. But if we give up morale, if we give up art and beauty and design and nature and all of the things that make life worth living, then we are just going to become the joyless, soulless husks that they want us to be. For anxious girlies, we must have a lot of nerve. Taylor has a song, New Romantics, and I've been wanting to do a video about it for a while because the New Romantics of the 1980s were inspired by the original Romantic poets. If you're a Swiftie, you probably already know this fact. But one of the important things of both the Romantics movement and the New Romantics movement, and I believe Taylor Swift trying to resurge the New Romantics movement again, 2.0, is that it was all about the art of the time acting in defiance, being a progressive outlet, informing society through art, through design, through things like that. Our art is so important right now. Our voices are so important right now. I have no idea how long we will continue to be able to raise them joyously. And for a while last night, I was just going to be terrified, but then I did what I always do in situations, and I really try to flip it on its head and see it from the other perspective, right? I know that the things that I have right now may be short, they may be fleeting, I may lose them, I may lose my life. I don't know what's going to happen going forward, and that could be a reason for me to succumb to despair, but that is the reason why I'm just going to try as much as I can, as best as I can, to succeed and to thrive and to be happy, because I spent 20 years of my life, like I've just done 2 videos where I discussed all of the time that I spend in the closet for my own safety, for my own financial pursuits, because I didn't want to make disharmony in the family. And it is so very recent that I was able to look at myself and love myself and to actually identify with the person that I was, because that person was finally me again. It wasn't somebody that was just people-pleasing and things that I was doing for other people's benefits. I am not going to give that away so soon after I had it. I'm not going to keep my story to myself and have other people follow in my footsteps if they have other options. At 42 years of age, when I look around a lot of queer gatherings, I am compelled by the fact that I am a queer elder, and that has always, like, scared me. It has scared me so much. I'm an anxious girl, but I sure have a lot of nerve.